This man, he's there always, in my mind always. That's how it is, his room, the furniture of his mind. In what world does he... There you are, my friend. There you are. Make a note of these things. This man, then, his acts, having the significance of dust, of ashes. It begins like this. His face. Some kind of destiny, or lack of it. An absence. Yes. An absence of destiny creeping into its hole. Crusoe, his life. His life. And mine also. Life. 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 Life.
My life began My life began when... My life began where? My life began. It's a rare bird, the incontrovertible statement. But since I am here now, I may be here now, am I? Yes, could be, possibly. Perhaps. Since I am here now, the whole rotten business must have started somewhere. Ergo began, squeezed out a red and mewling from between someone's thighs. Possibly my mother's. The subject matter is myself. Truth, love, death, no other. What is truth? Thought Pilate, washing the blood from his hand. What is love? Thought Pilate, gnawing at his mother's nipple. What is death? Thought Pilate, as a spade full of earth filled his mouth. Someone about the place who's not myself. Malevolent aspect. Disquieting presence. Jon-Jak, the frog scribbler, is my muse for the day. Jon-Jak Mark I, the frog scribbler, we plough the same furrow. Monsieur, I'm depending on you, my master, my inspiration. Monsieur, send me the divine afflatus, the blissful hippocrene. Oh, come out, you frog bastard, and say something. You know, the decision to be a great writer came to me one morning at the detumescent hour of 5. I hammered at the door of inspiration and seized her warmly by the throat. Of that one thing I am certain. Certain as I am of nothing else in this doubtful universe. While certitude swept over me like the sea. And I recommend to the world the importance of enshrining in one's life one event of which one is certain. It matters not what it may be. The important thing is that one should be certain of it. And I, Jon-Jak, also called Crusoe, am immovably positive that the momentous decision to be a great, great writer came to me one morning at 5 o'clock precisely. I think. To begin, title for today, Confessions, an autobiography of genius by Jon-Jak Crusoe.
He's there again. Oh, what does he want with me, world? Why doesn't he look through the keyholes of young ladies like any decent, self-respecting pervert? Pervert.
In my family there were 3 children, and only one of my brothers was a pervert. In my brother's case, the cause lay in a glass eye which appeared when he was 17. Well, between the wars, we formed an association with a diminutive but assertive daughter of an irascible estate agent from Flint, who was given to wearing large, flowery hats and high-heeled shoes. That is to say, the daughter, not the estate agent. He was perfectly normal in every respect as far as one could judge from outward appearance. Well, one night, my brother, in bending to kiss her before her front door, inadvertently impaled his left eyeball upon a large pin which had secreted in a hat, which somewhat tempered his passion. He began squealing horribly, trampling heedlessly in the herbaceous border, imploring the lady all the while to take care where she trod, for he still had hopes of retrieving the eyeball and returning it to its wonted position. Well, the estate agent came to the door and remonstrated with my brother for rousing the neighbourhood. And my brother, being servile and Welsh, blood torrenting from between clasped fingers, mumbled, I'm sorry, as if his guilty eyeball had inflicted important injury on the innocent hatpin. The affair with the daughter did not flourish. Indeed, it was some years before he could bring himself to look at a woman without covering both eyes with his hand. And in the interim he fell into a great bitterness and revenged himself on womankind by encouraging susceptible damsels to caress his cheek, when by an agitation of the muscles he would cause his glass eye to leap into their palms, plop, an eventuality he could accomplish with some facility. Well, as so often happens in life, dear reader, what began as an act of deliberation very swiftly became a habit, and he found himself incapable of releasing his seed unless it was simultaneously accompanied by an ejaculation of the eyeball, a habit, I may add, which did little to recommend him to the fair sex. Well, he was fortunate one day to meet a lady who shared his proclivities for the eyeball, it becoming the centerpiece of their sexual forays. And they married. She had never been Welsh. So many false beginnings. All the money I spent on paper. Ah! My passport. Ah. The likeness is unflattering. It's a smile. My mother told me never to smile if I wish to make an impression. You see, the smile does not induce warmth of feeling. At best, it generates suspicion. Ah, here, underneath the word occupation, you'll find the word writer, great. Writer, great. Writer, great, so there can be no doubt at all about what I said. Inspiration. My inspirations come to me in the night, in the chill void of the dead hour, the dawn hovering, the trembling hour of the great witching heat. The thundering of my heart awakens me, and it presages a birth. Huge imaginings begin to beat about my skull. An irresistible eruption begins to take place. It's an aesthetic wet dream. Last night, for instance, a massive drama began to rumble and careered headlong out of my skull. It was beautiful, poignant, sublime. I was overawed at the spectacle of my own talent. It turned a whole concept of man arse over tit. Now, from this moment forward, nothing could ever be the same again for anyone. To read my play was to have the taste of salt blood on one's lips, to hear the groundswell of eternity, to run the cobbles of Paris with a billhook in one's hands crying revolution. This morning the plot escapes me. I can remember nothing. Nothing. From that sublime banquet not one crust remains, and that's how it always is. Nothing, always nothing!
Still there. He's always there, crouching on the stair, squatting on his bony haunches. Ugh. He's eating some kind of disgusting fawn. Why does Mrs. Forty allow him this privilege, eating food upon the stairs, tearing his teeth into some kind of fawn? Why does it haunt me so? Sometimes he smiles and scribbles something in his greasy notebook.
In my life, I have written 2,000 great works, or 2,543 for the pedants among us. Well, I must confess that none has been actually completed. Further, tell the truth, Crusoe, I will. In truth, none has progressed beyond the first sentence. The majority have rarely stumbled beyond the first word. And sometimes my inspiration crumbles before the first word is complete. And also I find that the words of other men creep into my skull, totally against my will. Here I began War and Peace. Now, this is the first word of Men and Bovary, Dickens' complete works, Shakespeare's entire canon, Socrates, Machiavelli, Goethe, Baudelaire, Machiavelli, Goethe, and Heinrich von Kleist. All these!
What I fear is the death of my reputation. And my thoughts should die, be meaningless. But I will not be meaningless. I will defeat them all by setting down my inimitable history, the progress of my body and my soul down the corridors of time. And it will be written in blood. I'll come to my aid, my muse, my inspiration. Will send me words in mountains of flame. In words, I will consecrate my reality. As I, in speaking of this little flame, consecrate its reality. Now this flame existed because I speak of it. Now. And now. And now. But who will speak of my puny ephemeral flame when I am gone? I will! I will. It has not escaped me but that my life has been singularly lacking in event. Is it too late, I wonder, to be a great musician? No. I will defeat them all. Love and death. Love and death. I'm battered between these two. All the rest is so much dust through the fingers.
Time. A little time. And freedom. This is something. And in the corridor, indifference is rubbing her palms.
He's at the keyhole. He hears everything I say. He sees everything. Remove yourself, sir, or I shall urinate down your nose. That's an unwise threat. There are some perverse brethren amongst us who welcome such an eventuality with squeals of delight. Alone. Now for 7 years I've lived alone. Alone, that is, except for Mrs. Forte. Alone in this room, which was her bridal chamber. Here was her bridal bed. Here squeaked those springs upon which Mrs. Forte rode to ecstasy. Although I cannot conceive that ecstasy and Mrs. Forte were ever on nodding terms. And Mr. Forte, perhaps she tolerated the flailing of his tiny body with rigidly disguised distaste, like one who takes a rotten egg at a royal garden party and swallows it out of a sense of patriotism. We do not speak now. Not since the death speech. She skirts me in the corridor with a nervous smile, as if I were a mad dog with unpredictable habits. And how can I work with that shabby creature on the stair? I cannot even pass him in order to pee. Or at press, there is always the window. It makes a fine, glittering arc before cascading onto the patio. Now, Mrs. Forte is not so enamoured of the spectacle as I, although I must tell you that I am not addicted to it. Once the cascading fountain roused her and sundry matrons from their whist, the unambiguous and unmistakable music persuading them to draw back the curtains and goggle. How they jostled into the garden like outraged poultry. And then, gazing up at my roly-poly flab of flesh, taking his ease upon the windowsill, and I, unable to resist that congregation of upturned faces, making the sign of the cross and intoning Urbi et Orbi. Sometime later she came to remonstrate with me. Can I use this in my book? Forte. How strange, I mean, what chance lighted on that particular number? Why not 50, or 60, or 70? And yet she's perfectly normal in every respect, staggering fitfully through the chain, quite untouched by any shred of nobility or grace, never having thought on death. How can this be, when the thought of it tolls in my skull like a leaden bell? I feel it my duty to remind her of it. Mrs. Forte, I intoned in that public voice I reserve for moments of social cajolement such as this. And she, standing there, a hand planted majestically on a great swelling hip, demanding an explanation on the arrears in rent. Mrs. Forte, says I wish you to fix your mind on the thought of your inevitable death. Mrs. Forte, I repeated, for I love the music of her numerical name. One day death will knock upon your door. Your breathing will cease. Your aorta will flutter to a standstill. Your fine, proud English blood will cease its lifetime's journey about your body. Your faculties will forget their function. In a word, Mrs. Forte, you will be no more. You will be nothing but a memory in the mind of a small and rapidly dwindling band of almost totally indifferent people. Oh, Mr. Crusoe, she said, and drew back, as if I had presented her with a turd upon a shovel.
Mrs. Forte, I persisted, do you imagine that death is a never-ending coffee morning amongst chattering matrons in a boundless suburban garden where it's always summer and always 11 o'clock now, Mrs. Forte? When you die, a large 40-shaped space will appear where you once lived. You'll lie in the courtesy of a pine coffin which time will remorselessly nibble away. Grey lice will crawl through the bereavement of your sockets. Eager worms will devour even the excrement in your rotting bowels, as no coquetry will deny those little red gentlemen. Hygiene, Mrs. Forte, hygiene. Were it not for their diligence, your pampered carcass would offend the earth it lies in. Time, Mrs. Forte, oh, he's a sedulous paramour. He's grinning in your glass each day. No unguents need flatter his eye. He'll love you for your rotting teeth and for your wrinkling dugs, and for his plighted troth he'll dig you trenches in your face, and for his dowry sow 1,000 vile distempers in your blood. Death, Mrs. Forte, oh, he'll be at your bedside to suck up your last breath. He'll seal your lids with cold lips and kiss your mouth when even you stuff your nose up at your own stench. Think of that, Mrs. Forte. Death every hour, death every second. Think of that, huh? Since then, I seem to discern a cooling in her attitude towards me. Love. What can I say of my... I've always wished that some handsome, amorous creature had... I was going to say loved me, but that would be asking too much of fate or desire. It would have been enough if she'd shown a little kindness. Now my confessions should contain my wide-ranging adventures in love, or whatever term is current for that lewd scuffling. I think there were 3 encounters in all. Squalid and injudicious affairs for the most part, unsatisfactorily begun, unsatisfactorily concluded, unsatisfactory. Who was that?
the bike by a canal, the dirt on her legs, the muslin frock. Maisie. Oh, Maisie, here's a shilling for your hand in my breeks. No, she said. Oh, Maisie, lift up your frock. I wish to draw you as I'm making some studies for a great work on the Stations of the Cross. No, I'll tell my da, she said. Oh, Maisie, come for a ride at the iron bar of my rally bicycle. No, she said. Oh, Maisie, here's 2 shillings for you. Oh, Maisie. Oh, Maisie. Oh, Maisie. Thank God you have a proper respect for money. And then there was my encounter with the daughter of a captain of industry. Myself pent up with unsatisfied desire, some 30 summers, dam about to burst its wall. She, an unhappy matron, egregiously unprepossessing, with a man-like demeanour and the aroma of hot horse fresh about her. And the lights out in her palatial residence off the A45, dogs everywhere and 100 clocks ticking. The television gleaming baleful but imageless in the corner. And me, night blind entirely, groping arms out, my fingers dug deep into her iron buttocks, whispering, I want you, sending narrow-shouldered clocks swaying and the lamp standard down, crash and the flex about my ankles, and get wrath and bursting in the loins, and the lust becoming rhetoric in me, and she, unfamiliar with the passions of men, being more at her ease with shy horses, and me upon her like a savage, still trading the lamp standard. My God, what is happening, said she, in a voice used to command at horse fairs, galloping with me, calling out, tally-ho, hop boy, I am the cobalt heart, and the heart of creation. God is coming out of me, the skies fall, the universe reverberates, my body's and me putting on the light for her to find her shredded bloomers, finding an old man sitting in a chair, me with trousers lowered and one shoe off, saying, who are you? I live here, he said. My lady love's head over the capsized sofa, her face striped pink and pukes with post-coital anguish, saying, Daddy, and fainting away with the shame of it. And he, weeping a little for the lost innocence of his daughter, saying between cracked sobs, I hope you're not going to leave this mess for your mother to clear up. But I stayed and talked with him of cricket, and he was mollified almost. And I was supreme but unconcluded and therefore satisfactory encounter. Auntie Lillian twice removed on my dead father's side, gazing with tearful nostalgia at a family album of sepia memories, one hot summer afternoon. Me, but 13 or thereabouts, trembling with longings of body and soul, a gleam of tears in her eyes, a sumptuous bosom rising and falling like the summer ocean, lambent and heavy with promise. And me gazing down at that golden but forbidden landscape, the palms sweating, racked with desire, my hands plunging down to caress the golden fruit of all desire. Was it 10 seconds? Or 10 hours of melting delight, pleasure and delight beyond the marching of the sun. The tears pouring down my face, my heart bursting with the ecstasy of it, my hands burning as if they'd clasped hot coals.
It's over. I think it's over. For him, that is. Crusoe. Poor Crusoe. But it has to be.
Crusoe? Listen to me. I'm so sorry.
No.
So sorry.
No, wait. You will not kill me. Give me another day.
So sorry.
Sister Thrombosis.
Crusoe?
Catch me by the heartstrings.
I know. Crusoe?
Ah. Yes,
I had grown to love you somewhat.
Love?
Truly, but it has to end. We're not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere. It happens like this sometimes. Things begin well, but have to be abandoned. Please don't struggle.
Struggle?
I beg you.
No,
I'm sorry, believe me.
if my thoughts should die.
So sorry.
If thou didst ever hold me in thy
heart.
Yes, heart. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while to tell my story.
My story?
My story! My story. My story.